Hello everyone, I'm Robin. I am here to introduce my new podcast, The Audacity of Her, Unhinged, Unfiltered. I am from rural Manitoba, which is in Canada, right in the middle. We're like the coldest and hottest place, depending on the season. And I am going to do this podcast to talk about everything there is taboo. Maybe not everything, but things that interest me. And I am starting this because I have been on a bit of a journey of self-discovery since getting an ADHD diagnosis at the age of 34. And it has led me down so many very interesting paths and reconnected me to myself in a whole new way and made me see the world very differently. And getting this diagnosis has opened up my eyes to how much we don't talk about things. And I've always loved to talk about things that are weird, things that make people maybe feel uncomfortable, and like sex, like social justice issues, like brain differences, drugs, all of the things that are kind of taboo, uncomfortable topics I just love talking about. And I take any opportunity to have these discussions. One of the things I'm very nerdy about is sexual health and sexually transmitted and bloodborne infections. I used to do some pre and post HIV test counseling in Winnipeg, and got really excited about just about the science and all of the public health pieces. And I found that it was something that people didn't talk about. And so I was excited to tell people about it and to talk about it. And that continued. And so every opportunity that I have, I will talk about STBBIs because I find them very exciting. And again, something that not a lot of people talk about. Sex education as well, super passionate about it, because it's not something that we traditionally talk about. Masturbation, pornography, all of this is so important. And they're topics that I feel if we keep these things in the darkness, that is where there's all this misinformation. There's all of these kind of ideas that people have of things that if we actually talked about it, people could ask questions and maybe get answers that are accurate instead of asking like their friends or finding on the internet. And those are the conversations I love to have, and I love to have them in especially like interesting places. So this podcast is to honor that, to talk about things, to destigmatize things, to decolonize things, to be able to look at what's really going on, to authentically real talk about subjects that affect people's lives that maybe they feel a little bit uncomfortable talking about, or service providers feel uncomfortable talking about. And I love that I am able to bring this to light, and I'm able to do it in kind of like a fun, quirky way, because that's just who I am. But I am so excited to share this journey and my journey of reconnecting to myself after having an ADHD diagnosis later on in life, finding Indigenous ceremony, looking at how much colonization has affected me as a settler in Canada, and how much of a journey I have been on to connect to ceremony, to connect to land-based healing, and how much that has healed me, and how I have found so much of myself by leaning into the awkward, leaning into the uncomfortable, and asking questions, and putting myself outside of my comfort zone to connect in ways that I never even knew were possible, in different communities with different people. And it's led me on like the most beautiful journey that I can't even believe that I'm on. And I get to share this with people around me, with my children, with my husband, with my family, with my friends, with my community. And I am just so honored to be able to live this authentic life and create this really dream of helping people in a way that fuels me, that I get to do what I love and I'm so excited about. So I am going to talk about sex. I'm going to talk about sexuality, reclaiming sexuality, reclaiming our matriarchy. I'm going to talk about pleasure. I'm going to talk about masturbation. I'm going to talk about pornography. I'm going to talk about sexualized violence. I'm going to talk about being a survivor of sexualized violence. I'm going to talk about the grieving process of getting an adult diagnosis of ADHD. I'm going to talk about rejection sensitivity dysmorphia, emotional regulation, emotional dysregulation, sensory issues, sensory profiles. I am going to share my ayahuasca visions and how ayahuasca has shaped my life. I am going to interview people that I find interesting, that I think you would find interesting, that want to share their story. And I so invite you on this journey because it is going to be something, and it's going to be exciting. And I just want to invite you all in to be a part of my community and to connect with me, because I want to connect with you. And I am still just so honored that people want to hear my voice. I have had multiple people this year say that they just want to hear me talk and that I should start a podcast so that I could share my stories with them. Well, here it is. It's coming. It's happening. Sorry it took a while, but you know, sometimes I have this like imposter syndrome where it's like, what? People want to hear me talk? That's so weird. But here it is. So thank you for coming and for being here. I really hope you subscribe, and please share the message about this. I would love to spread the word more. Check out my Instagram. It's the Audacity of Her on Instagram. And if you're local, I'm going to be having some events with different partnerships that I would love for you to check that out. And stay tuned. We have some really exciting things happening. So thank you, and stay well. Stay tuned. There's lots of exciting things happening.